So, have you checked your bank account lately and just thought, where on earth did it all go? Well, you're definitely not alone. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're breaking down a really fascinating analysis of how modern corporate pricing strategies are actively and kind of quietly draining your wealth. Things that used to be perfectly normal spending habits, they've literally morphed into these massive financial sinkholes. Today we're uncovering the 12 modern spending traps of 2026 that you absolutely need to know about if you want to protect your money. Let's get right into it. To really grasp the sheer scale of this problem, we just need to look at the raw numbers. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average household blew through over $78,000 in 2024. Wow. But here's the truly terrifying part. Consumer spending shot up by 5.1%, while wages, they only rose by 3.8%. If you just do the basic math there, it's a mathematical impossibility to keep this up. Our spending is climbing significantly faster than our ability to actually earn. And that brings us to this incredibly powerful quote from our source material. The gap between what things cost and what people can actually afford widens every single year. Now listen, this isn't just your standard inflation we're talking about here. The harsh reality is that everyday products and services that used to make total financial sense have quietly transformed into carefully designed financial traps. The fundamental rules of the economy have just completely changed on us. Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. Number 1, the 2026 spending trap. Number 2, the high cost of convenience. 3, the illusion of status. 4, psychological spending traps. And finally, number 5, reclaiming your wealth.
Starting us off, Part 1, the 2026 spending trap.
So, the modern consumer is really waking up to the harsh economic realities of 2026. Continuing those same old spending habits today? That means you are actively working against your own wealth. Subscription models have absolutely multiplied like wildfire, convenience fees are stacked on top of each other, and the math has shifted so dramatically that purchases that felt perfectly normal just 5 years ago now border on straight-up financial self-sabotage.
Moving on to Part 2, the high cost of convenience. Food delivery apps, they've completely changed how we eat, right? But the economics behind them are absolutely brutal. And this brilliantly illustrates the point. A meal that costs $12 inside a restaurant can easily hit $22 on an app. Why? Because these platforms charge restaurants anywhere from 15 to 30% in commission fees. And guess what? That gets passed directly to you through inflated menu prices. Add on the delivery fees, the service fees, the tips, and you're looking at an insane 83% markup just for the privilege of not driving 10 minutes down the road. A weekly habit here is basically a direct wealth transfer from your pocket to corporate shareholders. And honestly, this convenience tax doesn't stop at delivery apps. Fast food, which used to be the absolute king of cheap convenience, has seen prices jump 55% since 2019. It completely fails every test of value now. Meanwhile, sit-down restaurants are up 35%, and they're surviving largely by slapping a crazy 2,000% markup on your drinks. I mean, that's a very expensive ice cube. And your premium morning coffee? Yeah, that's sitting at $7 to $9 a cup now. When you group all of this together, you are spending thousands annually for a massive, massive drop in value.
Let's just consider the true cost of that daily coffee habit for a second. Making a really high-quality coffee at home costs about 50 cents. If you were to swap that daily $6 cafe drink for a home brew, you're saving over $2,000 a year. But here's the real kicker. To put that into perspective, if you take that $2,000 annual savings and invest it at an 8% return for 30 years, it grows to roughly $250,000, $245,000 to be exact. You aren't just buying a coffee, you're literally trading away $250,000 for ambiance and a little convenience. Let that sink in.
All right, Part 3, the illusion of status.
Societal expectations constantly push us to upgrade our lifestyles, right? But absolutely nothing burns cash faster than a brand new car. The average new car in 2026 costs around $48,000. But the literal moment you drive it off the lot, boom, 20% of its value evaporates. That is $9,600 just gone, before you even hit the first red light. By the end of year one, that $48,000 car is only worth about $33,000 to $36,000. And because most people finance these cars, they immediately hit what's called negative equity. This basically means owing more on the loan than the car is actually worth. You become totally trapped. Now contrast this with actual millionaire behavior. The research consistently shows that the typical millionaire drives a reliable, used Toyota, Honda, or Ford, and they pay a median price of about $31,000 in cash. They treat transportation as a utility, guys, not a status symbol.
Status spending also totally hijacks our most personal moments. Just look at the wedding industry. A venue that charges $500 for a corporate event, they will instantly charge $5,000 the absolute second you say the word wedding. It is pure emotional manipulation. Couples are going into serious debt for a single 6-hour party, and the data is pretty alarming. Research from Emory University actually found that couples who spend $50,000 or more on their wedding are 46% more likely to divorce. You're trading your long-term security for a short-term spectacle.
So, the crucial point here is that chasing status just leads to credit card stress with zero marginal improvement to your daily life. Take luxury travel. It's up 30 to 40%, with a typical family Disney trip now hitting $8,000 to $10,000. Insane. And what about the latest tech? People are literally lining up to drop $1,200 on the newest smartphone to get photos that are maybe, 3% sharper? The performance difference is virtually undetectable, yet the financial depreciation is massive.
Let's move to Part 4, Psychological Spending Traps.
The modern economy relies heavily on manipulative psychological triggers. These companies, they know exactly how human brains work. They deliberately design their interfaces, their marketing campaigns, and their financing options to remove all the friction. The goal is to make sure you keep spending without even realizing you're doing it.
Now, what's really interesting about this next concept is planned obsolescence. Tech companies literally push out software updates that slow down older devices, or they intentionally design batteries to degrade quickly over time. The entire ecosystem is rigged. It's designed to force you into this endless cycle of replacing devices that actually work perfectly fine.
And the corporate exploitation goes much, much deeper. Remember when streaming was supposed to save us from expensive cable? Well, now platforms deliberately fragment their content so you need 5 different services, easily pushing your bills over $100 a month. Then there's the whole buy now, pay later trend, which tricks your brain into ignoring the total price, causing people to spend 10 to 40% more than they would if they just used cash. Oh, and subscription boxes? That is a $32 billion industry built entirely on selling you the dopamine hit of a surprise, which is usually just filled with random stuff you don't even want.
Here's another sneaky psychological trick. Brand loyalty. A name brand item like Tide costs $12 to $15, while the generic store brand, which is often made in the exact same facility by the way, costs just $6 to $8. Consumer Reports consistently finds that store brands match or even exceed name brand quality. So when you buy the name brand, you aren't actually buying a better product. You are literally just funding that massive corporation's marketing budget. Switching to store brands can easily save a household up to $2,500 every single year.
Bringing us to Part 5, Reclaiming Your Wealth.
Defending your wealth in 2026 really comes down to one primary weapon, and that is raw awareness. Algorithms, seamless apps, frictionless financing, they are all explicitly designed to make you spend unconsciously. Waking up to the reality of what things actually cost versus what they're actually worth, that is your absolute greatest defense.
When you take a step back and actually run the numbers on all these categories, the delivery apps, the shiny new cars, the name brands, the $7 coffees, it adds up to a staggering $10,000 to $20,000 annually in just totally unconscious spending. But by making conscious decisions to step out of these traps, you can redirect that money straight into investments. That's the secret. That is how you actually build wealth and genuinely improve your life instead of just chasing a fleeting dopamine hit. So, we'll leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on as you navigate 2026. Is your money working for corporations, or is it working for you? The spending traps are everywhere, but now that you know exactly how they work, you have the power to just opt out. Stay aware, run the numbers, and take control of your wealth. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and we will see you next time.